Okay, so let me show you how I'm going to edit these pictures of Hazel jumping on the bed. So here we are. I've got the pictures imported and I'm in develop. And I'm just going to play with a couple of these. First, I'm going to bring the exposure up quite a bit because it was, like I said, really dark. My ISO was at 2000 and my shutter speed was at 500, 1/500th of a second. So I had quite a bit of grain on these, which is totally okay in this situation. But right now, the main thing I'm adjusting for is the background because I'm going to bring her up and brighter with the radial filter in just a minute. So I just want to make sure I'm going to grab that. I think this is a little orange. Looks better. Okay. I'm going to use the tone curve and we're going to make kind of a S shape. So the top of the curve affects the highlights, or like the bright parts of the picture, and the bottom of the curve affects the dark parts of the picture. So if I made it like, if I pull that bottom part up or down, that's going to make it brighter or darker. And same with the top part is going to make it brighter or darker on the top, the lighter things. And then you can see how it affected it with these. That'll change that as well. So, okay, I'm going to bring my yellows down just a little so they're not quite so strong. And this is where I'm going to sharpen it, but sharpening in where I've already got so much grain is definitely going to give me a ton of grain. So you can see even in this preview, it's just so grainy. I'm going to bring this up pretty high. I don't mind having a little bit of the grain in there, but I don't want so much that it's distracting. So there's still quite a bit, but it's not quite as bad as it was. I'm going to bring it up pretty high though. Okay. Oh, we're not done with that yet. Sorry. Oh yeah, we are. Okay. Now I'm going to get the radial filter and I'm going to pull it up pretty tall, pretty big. And I'm just going to brighten her up. Increase contrast, decrease the blacks a little bit so that I've got more black in there because of her dress. That's going to give the illusion that the image is a little bit sharper too if the blacks are really like black and high contrast. I'm going to sharpen her up quite a bit. Perfect. Okay, I think that looks good. And then I'm also going to grab this and I'm just going to rotate it, I think a little bit. Let's see. Yeah. And I don't mind that the window's blown out for this shot. One, that doesn't really bother me, even though it does bother some people. And two, my neighbor's house is right next to our house. So if it was, let me see if I can show you. If I brought the highlights down, see, you can see their house and their window, which I don't love. So I'm going to leave those highlights in there because I think it takes away that distraction and makes the focus more on her. Okay, and I like how that looks. Let's look at the before and after. So you can see this is a really dark, low light situation, which a lot of you are struggling with in your house. And this is how I've edited it to bring up that brightness and make it a usable, cute picture. So I'm going to copy those settings. Perfect. And then I'm going to take a look at some of these others. And let's see. This is the one of her jumping off the bed at me. That's really attractive. Let's see. This was kind of silly of her, but let's look. I think the focus is really off on this one. Yeah, the focus is behind her on the curtains rather than on her. So that's probably not a usable one. There were a few others. So she got real silly and started showing me her underwear. as you guys saw in the video. And there was one shot of her doing that that I just really liked. Most of them were pretty like goofy and silly and not really what I was looking for. But this one, I love how she's laughing. I love how she's just being really silly in herself. So we're going to use this image. And I really don't even feel like I need to do too much to her. I might bring the shadows in the room down a little so you're not seeing so much of, she's got a little playhouse back here that she plays in. We don't need so much of that. Perfect. I might do a little bit of a filter of the radial filter here, but really don't need too much. I might just sharpen her up a little bit. Okay. And I think this is going to be a little bit stronger if I bring it in a little bit more, so it's a little bit more focused on her. And like this. So one of the big like photography rules is not to cut off limbs, like feet. You don't want to cut off at a joint, so like ankles, knees, wrists, elbows, stuff like that. That usually tends to not look very good. However, if I pull this up like this, I'm not sure I like how the image quite as much. I don't think it tells quite as much of a story. So I'm just gonna embrace the fact that I chopped off part of her foot and it's gonna be okay. Then let's look at the comparison, the before and after. Yeah, I like this a lot better. It is really bright. If this is too bright for your taste, go ahead and bring down those highlights a little bit. In fact, I might do it just a little to see her face a little better. And there's that one. Okay, and then I switched over and did some of her just laying on the bed. And there were some pretty cute ones. Let's see. My focus was off. She was so wiggly. Some of you have asked how I do that focus. Oh, look, you can see my dad was filming the video, but we're gonna get rid of him. Let's see. So I do not always nail the focus, that's for sure, with my manual focus lenses, but I try. So, okay. That's probably good. So here's one trick. I'm gonna brighten her up a little bit and sharpen her up a little bit. And again, I copied and pasted those settings from that first shot. So it makes this go so fast. And so it's just so quick and easy. Brighten her up a little. I might pull that down so it's brightening more of her. Okay, then I can do a second radial filter right here. And I'm just gonna bring that down and bring in some shadow so that it kind of gets rid of him. You don't want it so much that it's like, looks weird, but at least it takes away some of that distraction. And then I'm gonna pull the crop in. So it's not great, and this is a really easy thing to take out in Photoshop. It's not really something that's easy to take out in Lightroom, but this isn't something we're gonna learn right now. We're not even learning Photoshop in this class. But if I do a more advanced class, that would be something that would be pretty easy. So I just saved those settings so that I could use them again for these ones of her laying on the bed. And that looks pretty good. Let's look at the before and after. Yeah, that looks good. Okay. And then let's see if there's any others. And there's plenty to choose from. But we'll probably just keep it at that one's still almost out of focus. That one's kind of cute of her too. So in that session, she only gave me like a few minutes. You could see that there just was not, she didn't give me a ton of time, but I got a few shots. I shoot a lot. I'm kind of an overshooter. And so in those like 2 minutes, and I was kind of distracted because I was talking, but I shoot a lot of shots in that amount of time of my kids, because otherwise I'm never going to get what I need. And perfect. Now it's so loud with my neighbors. Ooh, leaving in their truck. Okay. So I just overshoot, shoot a ton, and if I can get one like great shot, then that's really all I feel like I need. Because I'm shooting often enough that one shot of an activity, if I can get one that really explains what was going on and tells a story, I'm going to be happy with that. So there's the before and after on this one. I probably could decrease those highlights just a little so that she doesn't have a blown out spot on her head. But other than that, I'm probably done with those. So I'm going to go back to library and this grid view, and I'm just going to grab these 4 shots while holding control, and I'm going to export them. I'm going to export them to Hazel jumping on the bed, and change the name. And I do like to put the date just in case just for like my own archival purposes. And that's going to go ahead and export, and that's all there is to it. There you go.